Today's guest is Vance Morris. Vance cut his teeth in learning how to run operations working for the mouse. That mouse is Walt Disney. He calls it the mouse. He learned process. He learned consistency. He learned how to do things to the finite degree. He took all of that, the learnings, the discovery, and the discipline, and he brought it to the service industry. And in this episode, he's going to tell you exactly how to do the same. If you're a business owner, take a listen to this episode. There is gold in here. It's going to tell you how to turn your operation from good to great. Let's dive in. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Vance, welcome to 10,000 Miles. How are you doing today?
Fantastic, Vic. Thanks so much. I think we'll have a little fun today with this.
Yeah, we're going to have a good time. Hey, Vance, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience real quick?
Sure. So I started my career at Disney. I'm not going to go through my entire 40 years of work, but spent over a decade working for the mouse, and that was really my starting point. So it really laid the foundation for everything I was going to do thereafter, whether I was working for a corporate job or whether I was working in my own businesses. Fast forward to kind of now, here in Maryland, I own 3 home service businesses. I've got a mold remediation company, a oriental rug washing facility, and a traditional carpet cleaning company. And what I did was I took all my Disney stuff, marketing, systems, operations, and I jammed it into those businesses, really put together operation systems, marketing systems, and everything, and got it running pretty much on autopilot. So I hired a general manager. He runs it. I spent about 90 minutes a week on those 3 businesses. And I attribute a lot of that to what I learned from Disney about systems. So instead of just sitting on the beach and drinking beer and eating bonbons, I decided, well, let's see if we can't help some other folks out. And so I coach and consult all about customer experience, how to monetize the customer experience, because there is a tremendous amount of price elasticity when you start offering experiences. And then those lead into customer retention. And a lot of what I do is after the consumer or customer, whatever you want to call them, has either consumed your product or gone through your service, what are you doing after that to keep them top of mind, or to keep yourself top of mind?
Sure.
It's not the customer's job to remember you. It's the business's job to remind the customer that they exist. So a lot of companies don't get that. So that's kind of where I am.
That's amazing. Well, the audience now knows exactly why I was excited to have you on today. I am a huge supporter of small business. I love the guts and the courage of the small business owner. Vance, funny story about small business. I worked as a small business owner early on, independent in the music business, owned a recording studio. I got out of that business. I got into technology. I started working for big companies. And my sort of entrepreneurial side got squelched a little bit. I got bitten by the corporate dragon. But almost 9 years ago, I went back to the other side. So I'm a partner in a business right now. We've got about 30 people, and we're a technology services company, and we serve customers that I like to think at a pretty good level. But the interesting thing about it is it renewed my vigor to be an entrepreneur, to appreciate systems, repeatability, process, things of the like, all the things I learned from working in big companies. But the best part about it, and I'll tell you a little side secret, the first people who are going to listen to this podcast are going to be my kids. Because when they hear from me, it's like, dad says stuff. But I want them to hear from somebody with like amazing depth and experience and focus on this stuff. Because, they would come home and say, I work for so-and-so today. And, boy, they really don't know how to run their business. And I would say things like, hey, when you came home tonight, did you worry about the rent? Did you worry about payroll? Did you worry about insurance? Did you worry about product? And I was like, hey, these are people. Like, give them a little grace, give them a break. they're learning as they go. And maybe at the outcome of this, they'll need to talk to Vance, but I want to bring what you know about customer service, wallet share, repeatability to as many people as will listen to it. So thank you again for coming on today.
Oh man, I'm excited to be here.
Great.
It's part of the mission, right?
It sure is. Hey, good segue. Just do me a favor, take us back to Disney. Like, how'd you get started there? Give me a short on, a few minutes on what that experience was like for you.
Starting there, I'm probably one of the few people whose interview went like this. Hey, come on down. I'll get you something. So when I was living in Massachusetts, and a friend of mine from college was a recruiter for Disney, and this was back in the late '80s when Disney was just exploding with construction. So I couldn't stand being in Western Mass, so called him up and said, "Hey, you got anything for me?" And he goes, "Yep, come on down." And that was the extent of my. It's not going to happen today. I can tell you that.
No, that won't happen.
But so I was on the opening team of the Yacht and Beach Club Resort, which is over by Epcot Center. I worked in food and beverage for actually 25-ish years. But the first big thing I learned, and it wasn't about how to pick up trash. It wasn't about, how to be nice to people and do all the wows. It was that Disney runs on systems. And I've talked about that systems have given me freedom to step away from, the day-to-day grind of the business to now just, again, 90 minutes a week. But Disney runs on systems so that they have a consistent show being presented. That's what in Hollywood speak, Disney is all about the show. They have cast members that perform a role, so they don't have employees doing jobs. And it's really a mindset shift. But with those, you have systems that guide them on everything. And the freedom that the systems at Disney give are the ability to do all of the nice things. So you literally will learn your job. I mean, there's a 3-inch binder, full of stuff. You learn your job, you practice your job, you repeat your job, and it just becomes like rote muscle memory. It gives the Disney employees then the brain space and the freedom to go do all the nice stuff that Disney's known for, taking pictures, doing autographs, picking up trash, saving the ice cream cone, and all that. And the thing that I also learned is that Disney systems are simple. Because if they were complex, the whole darn thing would fall apart. You got to remember who's working in the theme parks and everything. I mean, it's a bunch of teenagers who are not thinking about safety or anything else. They're thinking about last night's keg party. So if they had a difficult system to follow, it would never happen. And Disney runs on 3 words: what to do, how to do it, and why we do it that way. And I've carried that through the next 30 years of my work. It just 3 easy, simple
repeat that
words
for me again. What are the 3 things?
3 things. So what to do, how to do it, which is what most companies tell their employees. But if you want true employee engagement and, the employees rallying around the mission, you got to tell them why we do it that way. So Disney will tell you, here's how we answer, you got to answer the phone. There's the what. And then how do you do it is, hey, thank you for calling the Yacht and Beach Club, or however they do it. Why do you answer the phone that way? Well, because 1, it separates us from everybody else out there. It sets the tone for the vacation, and you give all of the reasons why. And all of a sudden it just clicks. And, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not just the boss
so
told
simple.
You to.
It's simple, but it's on point. Yeah. Love it. So you were there for a long time. You learned the 3 core things important to deliver. Let's fast forward through that a little bit. Through all of your time there, you took away systems. You took away the top 3 things to align people to how, what, and why, right? What else did you learn during your time there? I got a story for you that I'm going to follow up with, but I want to see if maybe you knew about this if you were there during this time.
So there is a lot of synergy with the Disney departments. It's not like the government where, oh, the FBI does this and the Secret Service does that, and they don't talk to each other. During Michael Eisner's reign, he realized that they were sitting on all of these assets and none of the assets were working together. So, a movie would come out, but then there was no merchandise or very little merchandise, and then the merchandise wasn't actually in the parks. Now, when a movie's coming out, they've already got an attraction or a ride being built for it.
Perfect.
The merchandise is freaking everywhere. And so they've worked in conjunction. So now you can't get away from, Frozen. I mean, it's in your face. There's the movies, there's the ride, there's the merch.
Amazing.
So I think being able to work cross-functionally with teams or individuals, especially if you're a solopreneur, giving a little bit of that authority away doesn't always feel good, especially when you're wondering if the guy who you're going to be working with is going to screw you or try and steal your client. And what I've found is that when I trust a partner who, let's just say it's my mold remediation company, we don't do construction. So I'll subcontract out to a couple of different water damage companies that do demolition and construction. But they probably also do mold remediation. But we've got such a good relationship. When we started, I said, look, I'll feed you all of the water damage construction jobs because I don't want to do them.
Yeah.
But if you touch my mold job and steal my customer from me, you will never hear from me again. So it's really a parallel between what, Disney working together and out here working together.
Yeah.
The other thing was creativity and getting the employees as part of the design of things. So I was on the design team for a little restaurant called Chef Mickey's, which is a character. You familiar with that one, Vic?
I'm not actually, because I've not been to Disney a lot. I've only been there a few times. My wife and kids would go because my girls were cheerleaders and they'd have the big cheer competitions down at Disney, and they'd spend an extra day there. So I've been there only once or twice, but I don't recall it.
Right. So Chef Mickey's is a character dining destination. So it's a pay to play to be with the characters, with Mickey and Minnie and everybody. So it's not like you go into the theme park and you wait in line for 45 minutes in the hot sun and, your little darling daughter's just sweat pouring everywhere. And no, you actually sit down, you have a nice meal, which you're paying for. You're going to pay $50-$60 per person to sit down, but the characters come to you. So there's a lesson in and of itself. You can get it free in the park, or you pay for the privilege of sitting in comfort and having them come to you.
Sure.
But so what we had to do, though, when we were designing it, we had a very strong mission. And your mission has to be bigger than your job. So at Disney's mission is to kind of make people happy. Every minimum wage employee can wrap their brain around that. But our individual mission for Chef Mickey's was that we had to get the mouse, Mickey, through 400 seats in 43 minutes and make it feel like it was a great time.
Wow.
Tall order. Very tall
order is right.
And you'd say, why 43 minutes? Well, that's the average amount of time a table for two would sit in our restaurant. So we knew if we didn't get it done get the mouse through in 43 minutes, people would be sitting and waiting. If they're sitting and waiting, they're getting cranky.
You're not turning tables.
And then the people waiting for that table are getting cranky because they're sitting longer.
Yeah.
So we brought all of the employees in and we're like, okay, bus boys, mouse, 400 seats, 43 minutes. What can you do? And they came up with a great idea. It was like, look, when we're bussing a table, we got to take the salt and pepper shaker and the sugar boat and and this little stand and this sign. Takes a little bit of time for us to clear the table and then reset it. If we just had a little basket and all that stuff was in the basket, we just have to lift the basket up, move it, clean the table, put the basket back. So we saved, I don't know, minute and a half per table turn. But just that contributed.
Yeah.
it contributed to everything. So we had the hostesses, do the same thing on how we're going to do the seating. We worked with the entertainment department that was providing the characters for the restaurant, and what's the best route for Mickey to go. What holds up the mouse? Well, everybody wants pictures for their birthday or pictures for their bar mitzvah or whatever. So we knew that was a clog point. So we came up with a celebration song that plays every 43 minutes so that the mouse just kind of does his entertaining and his dancing and everything at wherever spot he is. And then 43 minutes later, they do it again. So he's not getting stuck anywhere. So there's a lot of the lessons right there. I mean, opening Chef Mickey's, there was a ton of lessons that I got out of that one.
It's a lot of logistics when you think about it to make that hum and run. People don't have the appreciation for how fine-tuned the Disney operation is. And I told you I had a story. I had a guy work for me once in technology, the company I worked with, who spent a lot of time at Disney. And he was a member of the team that rolled out the bracelets. Okay. When that happened years and years ago.
Brilliant, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, he told me an interesting story. Maybe you can validate this. I've been telling it is true. So maybe you tell me this. But he said, yeah, it sounded great. The bracelet, the branding, buy your own, easy peasy. I can buy stuff and I don't have to deal with my card. But he said, yeah, the real genesis of that was to solve a PCI compliance problem that was going to cost millions and millions of dollars to resolve, because every endpoint you have in a network where there's a card swiper has to be compliant from that point all the way to its termination point. And you had thousands and thousands of endpoints in the park. And to remediate thousands of endpoints where point of sales was going to be millions and millions of dollars. But if they got a bracelet and they swiped their card once at a minimized endpoint, and then they just went around, transacted, secure, no real financial transactions, at the end of the day, boom, one went out, PCI was solved. But what it turned into, he told me, was an amazing data machine beyond the cameras of where people were. So all of a sudden, giant line at one ride. Deploy a team of, entertainers here over by the ride that's got the short line. Whoosh. Everybody went there and they were able to really take traffic movement in the park to the next level. Does that sound right?
You're spot on. So you can keep telling the story.
Good. Perfect. That was a
those
brilliant
Magic bands, I'm telling you, they brilliant in what they did for the customer experience and for their revenue. Because if you think about it, like they have people that study how long you wait in line to buy something. So if you're standing there with an 87-piece Minnie Mouse tea set for your daughter, you plunk the thing on the counter and you go and you reach for your wallet and you go and get your credit card. There's a certain amount of time that's elapsed there. Well, the Disney people would watch that. And in that 1.5 seconds, Dad had an opportunity to rethink this purchase.
Yeah, totally.
And then he said, do we really need this? No, fine. He puts his card away. Now with the little wristband doinker, I mean, the kid can put it up there.
Yeah.
Doink, it's paid for. And, so they eliminating any friction, any barriers to service, any barriers to the sale. I mean, Disney is the master at eliminating any barrier to getting money from you.
Amazing.
Definitely worthy of study.
So let's transition from all that, because we probably can do an entire episode on your experience at Disney. You unleash it, but I'm more interested in how you apply all of this stuff to helping small business owners really understand this magic. And you have you got a couple things here. You have an idea of moment zero, and you also talk about something called systemic magic. So can we start with moment zero and how it might transform a business?
Sure thing. So moment zero is that very first 5 seconds, 10 seconds that somebody comes upon your business, whether that is a flake book ad, whether that's your website, whether that's walking into your store, or a technician, if you have technicians out in the field. And the companies that create an immediate emotional connection with that customer, with that prospect, really has a greater chance of keeping them and closing them as a customer than somebody who didn't. And if your competitors can create that emotional connection quickly, then and they're faster than you, then you're going to lose out. Emotional connections are huge in the small business world. I mean, we're not Coca-Cola, we're not Walmart. They don't care what our name is. But if Dave the plumber, he wants to know who his people are, who his customers are. And so he needs to be able to create this emotional connection with the customer immediately, usually done with some kind of using their personality. One of the things that I do, I shamelessly use my children in my marketing. Now, they're all grown up, so I really can't use them anymore. But when they were 5 and 6 years old, they were cute. I put them on a postcard that I mailed out, or I put them in a newsletter. But my customers watched my kids grow up. So my daughter did ballet for a number of years. And every year we got the picture of her in her tutu, and it would go in my newsletter. She was probably about 10 or 11 years old. We're in the grocery store, and this lady walks up to us. She goes, "Oh, my God, Emma, how was your ballet recital?"
Amazing.
And my daughter's looking at me like, who the hell is this lady? We want to go hide in the frozen food section. And I had to think, she's got to be one of my clients. That lady is never leaving me. Ever, until she dies or moves.
It's personal
she's
connection.
Not going anywhere. So that's that emotional connection that you got to create with your customers so that they don't go anywhere. Okay. And so moment zero is that immediate feeling. I mean, it's just like, your first impression of somebody. You only get one chance at doing it. But if you can hook them immediately, you got them. And you probably, if you continue that, you got them for life.
Amazing. And so you take that and then you put them into, then you have systems and other processes. And I think, systemic magic, you trademark that, I think, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Systematic magic. That's
what is it?
Host, but
what is it? And how does a business owner implement it?
Sure. So Disney's got practical magic all figured out. And magic's not real. You don't see it on a balance sheet. You can't depreciate it. So how does a company like Disney make all this money out of something that doesn't really exist? We translate that to the small business world is if you think of a magician or go to a magic show, you're sitting in the audience, the guy, chops up the lady in 27 pieces and then puts her back together again.
Yeah.
The audience is like, oh, wow, that's cool. Or what, they're in awe and wonderment and all that. But to the magician, if you take it from the magician's point of view, it's all practiced, repeatable, and replicatable systems or hand movements, whatever you want to call it, to create that illusion. So you have to have systems in your business that are going to create the magic for your customers and your employees. And there's 7 parts to it, and I don't know how many you want to touch on, but
let's go through them.
It's really the bare basics of getting your customers to say yes and then keeping them forever. One of the keys, I call them magic keys. One of the magic keys is systems, and we've talked about that already. Another one is the wow factor. Everybody loves to talk about wow because it's sexy. And what you want to do here with wow, first, you better be good at what you do. So you better be a good plumber. You better be a good, hairstylist or, whatever it is you do, because that's the entry into the market. We expect you to be able to do your job.
Table
stakes.
You
start wowing and you suck at it, well, you're just really just kind of showing the whole world that you really suck at it. So Disney's figured out how to create an experience out of every mundane thing that the business has to do day in and day out to keep the business up and running. Answer the phones, greeting guests, and things like that. So I took that same theory, that same system, I put it into my carpet cleaning business. So I'll give you a quick example. So one of the the boring, mundane things we have to do is get into somebody's house. If we can't get in the house, we can't do the cleaning. So we made a complete performance out of getting into the house. So it starts out in the street. So my guys, they park on the street. They don't park in the driveway because God forbid I got an oil leak. Now I got something else I got to clean up. He
Yep.
gets out and he's in a clean uniform because he carries extra uniforms with him. He doesn't smell because I forbid smoking and cologne while you're at work, because there's nothing worse than the Marlboro man who smells like he just took a shower in Axe showing up in
Yeah.
your kitchen. I mean, it's foul.
Yeah.
And he's got a little mat with him, and he's got a little gift, and he goes up to the front door, lays down his mat. We knock on the door. We don't ring the bell because friends knock. Salespeople ring bells. We wait for Mrs. McGillicuddy to open the door. She opens the door, and we say, "Hi, my name's Josh. I'm here to create your healthy home. May I come in?" We don't just barge in. So when she opens the door to let us in, we do an exaggeration of wiping our feet on the mat so that she sees it. We put little booties on our shoes, and then we go in. As we're going in, we're presenting Mrs. McGillicuddy with a gift. Now, when was the last time you had a pest control guy, a home inspector, a carpet cleaner come to your house and give you a gift before they did any service, even before you know they even had the sale?
Never.
Right.
Never.
So
I'll be honest with you,
we give a
Vance.
gift.
Never happened.
Yeah. We give a gift,
What's
which
the
does
gift?
a couple of things. One, it separates us from everybody else out there because
Yeah.
there ain't nobody else doing it.
What's
and
the
two,
gift, Vance? What is the gift?
Oh, the gift. Yeah, it's nothing big. So I have a custom red box that we made. Inside the box is a bottle of hand sanitizer, a bag of Entenmann's cookies, and a little note from me saying, "Thank you so much for allowing us into your home. If you got any questions,
Pure
just,
genius.
feel free to get in touch with me."
Pure genius. Love it.
And
the easy
so
things. There's a saying that says the easy things are often easy not to do as well. The easy things to do are often easy not to do. You're doing them. So go ahead. So now we're exaggerated. We walk in. They got a nice gift. You've differentiated, clean. They're not showered in Axe. No smoking. I'm with you.
So the last part of it, and just about the gift. So when you implement things in your business that are going to change your sales or change how you do things, just implement one thing at a time so you can measure it. So when we implemented the gift, we saw a 26% increase in our mid-tier package, or about $65,000 in additional sales every year.
Amazing.
Just from a little $4.85 gift. I know my competitors know I do it. I've seen them hiding in the bushes, watching my guy. I kid you not, because I do quality checks still, and I'll drive into a neighborhood where my guys are. And one time I drove in, and there's the yellow van guys, 2 doors down, and there's a guy in the bushes watching my guy. They know what we're doing.
Yeah. I love that. That's amazing. So when they get in, you did these pre-entrance routines. So you've literally scripted where to park, how to approach, what you're going to look like, how you're going to present, how you're going to show that you've, wipe the feet, exaggerate, I like that exaggerated motion. You've differentiated. Job didn't even start yet. And these are a lot of steps, Vance. Like, they're thoughtful. Yeah. I don't mean a lot like too much. I mean like thoughtful, like prescribed, very prescribed.
And I don't want anybody to think that like I came up with this overnight. This was probably a 12-month, iteration after iteration after iteration. We added the mat, and then we're going in the house. Might as well add some booties. Great, we added that, and then I did. One of my employees, even though I didn't allow smoking, did smoke. In the van, I fired him. So, found that to be important. So no cologne, where to park, I don't think any of my vans ever leaked, but you do see the oil drips in people's driveways, and you don't want to contribute to that. So
yeah. Plus ultimately somebody's got to get out, so if you're there for a few hours and somebody's parked in the garage, I have service people come to the house on a regular basis for certain things. I don't mind when they park in the driveway, but I don't like it because then I got to ask them to move the car or the van. Hey, you mind moving the van? I got to get out. And the thing is, sometimes, Vance, it's so funny that you do this, is that I'm like, didn't they see there were 2 cars ahead of them? Do they think we're going to be here all day? I mean, it's a little common sense. And what they save, 12 feet to go from where they're parked to where they would have parked in the street out of everybody's way. So, but no, that's great stuff. Hey,
it's the little friction points, though. like if that was the only thing that went wrong with the service at your house was that they parked in the driveway and blocked your car
I
and
didn't
you had
care.
to ask, not horrible. But
No.
if the guy showed up and he did smell, maybe he had mud on his shoes, maybe he wasn't careful with your belongings, he dragged something across your floor, and he wasn't very pleasant. All of these little things, one of them is not going to doom you, but death by 1,000 cuts, you start adding all these things up and boom, you're toast. And one of the other magic keys is all about details. And what I tell my guys is every detail matters. And every detail is either enhancing the experience or detracting from it. There is no middle ground. So if you got a dusty houseplant in your waiting room, that's a detraction. You drive around. I mean, we're a cleaning company, so we wash our vans every day. But can you imagine a cleaning company showing up in a dirty van? That's
Absolutely.
a detail.
That's a
It's
detail.
Detraction. So
it's funny
attention to detail is paramount.
It's funny you mention that because, people have accused me of being a perfectionist. And I tell my wife, I'm not a perfectionist. I'm just a detail-oriented guy. And, and as, we're raising the kids here, I tell my son all the time, it's like, jobs are not done until they're done. Like it's good enough's not enough. Job's not done. If there's a broken window and we have the glass company come and they leave one piece of glass on the floor, it's bad. The window is perfect. It's in great. It's sealed. It's great. There's a piece of glass outside. So I tell my son when he does stuff, like you've got to go check it once, twice. If it's 3 times, whatever it is, have that checklist. Leave no stone unturned. Delight the customer. Deliver something over and above what everybody else is going to deliver, because they'll notice. They'll notice the smallest thing, like that little piece of glass. If they step on it, boy, that's going to be a crappy experience if they go out back barefoot to walk the dog, right? Yep. But everything else was marvelous. And it was a giant window and there was so much glass out there. It was incredible. We had the roof replaced, Vance. And I don't know how they did it. They tore it off, did the entire roof, soup to nuts, in one day. There were 36 guys here. Okay. It was incredible. But the next morning, after they were all done, buttoned up, cleaned up, the guy who ran the job, I see him walking through my backyard at 7 a.m. You know what he was doing?
Looking for nails.
Back. That's exactly right. He goes, hey, we finished up here last night. He goes, I let the crew go as we didn't need them anymore. He goes, I think I had 8 guys here till the end. I'm here doing a spot check just to make sure there aren't any nails or trash or anything in the bushes or anywhere around. That guy was a home run for me. It's like, 100%. First of all, the roof looked amazing. The setup, the cleanup, the preparation, they tarped the entire property practically. Yep. It was unbelievable, the prep. But the fact that this guy was at my door at 7 o'clock in the morning, let himself in around the back, looking for scraps and nails and things. I mean, I think I referred that guy to 10 people. Okay. And it was that little maneuver, that 1 inch or that 1 millimeter is not, they say the extra mile is only often a millimeter. It's not a mile. And that was unbelievable. And it sounds like you're from that school. I want to talk about value and pricing, because people remember a cheap price once, but they remember a bad experience for a very long time. And it often and it's not even, it's a cheap price or an expensive price lasts a short period of time. Value, though, I think is what they remember for a long time. So it sounds like you are delivering a high level of value. You've got repeatable processes. You've got standards. You've got quality control. You've got all of these things. How did you determine where to price yourself, and what recommendation would you give others while people are always trying to figure out what they're worth? How do you tackle that challenge?
Well, first and foremost, I will tell everybody there is no competitive advantage to being second cheapest.
Okay.
So if you're not the cheapest, which I don't recommend anybody do, because Walmart will probably beat you, or Amazon, or somebody will always undercut you.
Somebody giant.
And
yep.
And you can't, the marketing phrase, hey, we're second cheapest, is not going to work on anybody. So I go up is the only way. And I say, be the number one price, be the highest price in your category or your niche. But you've got to have the goods to back it up. So you look for things that are going to add value to the service, whether they are tangible or intangible. So we all know that, you go and buy a TV at Best Buy, and when you're at the register, they're going to ask you, do you want the 3-year maintenance plan for $90?
Right.
And, you say yes, or you say no. But at that time, Best Buy is selling air. They haven't sold anything except they got your money and it's sitting there until it needs to be used.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in our businesses, we can also add value-added stuff to our services or to our products. So one of the value adds that we have in the cleaning business is we have a 7 and 14-day whoopsie guarantee. So we clean your carpet today and your clumsy husband knocks over a beer, spills some chocolate milk a week from now, give us a call. We'll come back out, no charge, and clean up that spot.
Nice.
Now, none of my competitors do that, but it's a value add and it's a peace of mind thing. We also have warranties. So if we apply the stain resistance, we'll warranty the carpet 1 year, no permanent stains. Again, companies are not doing that. We also have a money back guarantee. I said, if you're not head over here thrilled with what we did in your home and you didn't get the most thorough cleaning ever, I'll give you your money back. Now, we do have one little caveat to that is if they do have a complaint, we need to have the opportunity to go and at least fix it.
Of course.
And if they say, yeah, come out and fix it and, it's still not good, then we give their money back. No problem. It's a small world. Everybody knows everybody. I don't care what town you're in. It's not worth it to start getting a bad reputation, not standing behind, what you're doing. Physical value adds. You talk about how the roofer put the tarps all and, covered
Mm-hmm.
your lawn and everything. We'll do the same thing in the house. How do we take care of the home? So if we're cleaning a sofa and it's on a wood floor, again, we bust out the tarps and we're covering everything up. We move the lamps so we don't knock them over. It's all of these little things. We only have employees. We don't have subcontractors. So all the differentiation points, when it comes to price, I don't want to say it's irrelevant, but it is definitely not the first question that people are asking. If people are asking how much, and that's the only question they have, that's because that's all we've given them to base the service on is the price.
Well, you're doing a lot more. So I mean, these are the things that I would. Do you work in Texas, by the way?
No.
Yeah. Okay. I wish you did. Your company sounds amazing. Let's pivot to marketing. You've got a take on it. And rather than me ask you a direct question, I'm going to ask you a general question. Give us the 30,000 foot on your thoughts around marketing and your approach.
So I am a believer in what's called direct response marketing.
Okay.
So if I send out a postcard and it costs me $1, I expect that postcard to come back with a whole bunch of his little dollar buddies. So everything I do in marketing is measurable. Okay. So if I spend $1, I make $7. Great. That's a good thing. But direct response is that everything that you send out and put out into the world, you're asking for some kind of response from the prospect to it. This is not what I call Goodyear blimp marketing.
Okay.
I dare anybody call up Goodyear and ask them how many tires they sold because the blimp was flying around your stadium that weekend. They don't know.
Right.
But as a small business owner, we need to know, did that blimp deliver?
Right.
If it doesn't, how do we measure it? So the response part can be as much as, you send out a thing and you want them, the response could be a telephone call, or the response could be a visit into the store, or the response could be, going and downloading a special report or an ebook or something so that we can gather, more information and continue to market to them afterwards. That brings you to follow-up. I follow up all my businesses. I follow up until you either buy from me or you're dead or you just plain old sick of me. But people stop following up too soon. They think after 3, oh, they're not going to buy. Well, no, they're just not a now buyer. Maybe they're a future buyer. And if by you staying in touch with them throughout the course of their buying process, because everybody's got a different one,
That's right.
I mean, if you're going to go buy a sunroom, that's something that you're going to spend some time talking with other contractors. You're going to go to the Home Depots and stuff and look at stuff. There's a long sales cycle there. Well, if you're one of 3 contractors bidding on that and you just submit your bid and you're like, well, I submit my bid, that's my best bid, and they should take it because that's the best thing. No, you need to follow up. You need to say, hey, where are you in the planning stages of your new sunroom? Do you want a recommendation on windows? And you just continue to drip on them, whether it's through the mail, through email, phone call. I mean, the phone, nobody uses the dang phone anymore. I mean, I call it it's a handheld device that happens to have a phone app on it.
Yeah, totally. And used to be a phone that did stuff. Now it's a device that does stuff that also is a phone.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, you got 48 megapixel cameras and 4K
text.
Video. You don't text. You're not a text guy.
I don't. No. And I don't know if this is video, but I will show you. This is my phone.
Yeah, this is video. Oh, you got
it's a flip phone.
Old school. Yeah, you got a good flip phone there.
I can't text on that because I got to hit the one button 3 times just to get to see. Forget it.
That's great.
But you've got to follow up. And you also have to follow up after the sale with your customer retention system. Mm-hmm. Like I said at the beginning, it's not your customer's job to remember you. It's your job to remind the customers that you exist. And say you're an HVAC company, and this summer, I had them come out and service the air conditioning unit. And let's say in 18 months, my heat craps out. So I'm probably looking around, on my desk for an invoice. I'm looking for a business card, maybe a sticker on the unit outside, but none of that's there because they were too lazy to do it. I'm going to call somebody else, or I'm going to go back to Google and I'm going to find who's the next guy in line or who's top. Maybe I'll get you again. Maybe I won't. But if they had just sent me a postcard every quarter, or maybe an email every other week, or maybe sent me a newsletter, they would have been top of mind for me. And I'll give you the dollars on this. If you think retaining customers is expensive, try getting a new customer.
10 times harder.
My cleaning business, it cost me $126 to get a new customer in the front door. That's pay-per-click ad. That's the guy answering the phone. Everything for me to get a customer in the front door cost me $126.
Okay.
To keep a customer cost me $22 a year. So when I clean for a repeat customer, I'm already $100 more profitable because I didn't have to go out and buy them, or reacquire the customer.
Absolutely. In my business, I'm a technology distributor per se. Or broker, I should say. We have much like insurance, we have 400 providers in our ecosystem. And we have clients with various degrees of interest based on what they're working on. And because we cover a wide array of technologies, you never know what you can run into. We don't go out and sell per se. We try to talk about what they're working on, and typically something in our ecosystem works. Vance, I've got some deal cycles that are 2 years long. And so that client acquisition cost is very high, but that's an enterprise account. And when that enterprise account works, it's going to be great. Then I come down into SMB and then into the small business market, and they all work. But we have found, and through our experience, that we have a saying, it ain't over till they file the restraining order. So they're in our CRM. We're constantly communicating with them, and there's always some distribution of either it's an email or a text message, their preferred means of communication. It's an early morning phone call. So, the account manager or myself or one of the other partners, depending on the level of account, make a phone call. Hey, we're in town to see this customer, but we got 3 other customers there. We're going to do 2 lunches and a dinner, or a breakfast, lunch, and a dinner. Like, the trip is never one and done. There's always something more that can be done. And then what happens? All of a sudden, the magic happens. I can't believe they called us when they needed that solution. Of course you can, because you're in front of them. And now on the other side, we've suffered the pain of not doing that. And then they'll engage with us on something else, only to find out that they consumed a product elsewhere that could have been through our ecosystem, and we were on the outside looking in. And every time that happens, Vance, we've only looked at ourselves as the problem. Oh, why didn't the customer think of us first? Well, because, we didn't do a good job staying in front of them. Right. So that's something we had to refine over the years. We didn't get it right straight away. It took us a while to get it right. And it took systems to get it right. People, process, and technology to get it right. So super, super cool. Any good marketing books you recommend for people to read?
Oh, sure. Anything by Dan Kennedy. The Ultimate Sales Letter or The Ultimate Marketing Plan by Dan Kennedy. By far, that's honestly probably the only 2 books you need for a small business to do their marketing. And then if you haven't read, oh God, his name just escaped me. How to Get a Meeting with Anybody. By Stu Heinecke.
Okay.
I don't know if you know Stu. He used to be a cartoonist. He still is a cartoonist for like the New Yorker and some of these big magazines. But he's written a book called How to Get a Meeting with Anybody. Absolutely brilliant.
Really, I'm gonna have to buy that book when we're done today.
But mailing stuff through the mail, not just a letter. I've mailed a muffler through the mail to get a automotive dealership as a client. So
tell
they weren't
me
going to pay attention to a letter or a phone call. But you want to know about that one?
No, tell me about it.
Oh, okay. Well, no, yeah. So I didn't know if we had time, but
we got
time.
So
there's a huge auto dealership in my area. They got like 13 or 14 different sites around the area, and I wanted their contract for our cleaning business. And I would go in, I could never get a call with the general manager, never get a meeting. He was always out, yada, yada. So I just got this idea and I sent him a steering wheel. The Postal Service will mail anything. So there's no box. It's just a steering wheel, a stamp, and a little sales letter.
No box.
And what's that? No box.
No box.
You can mail a brick if you want to mail a brick. They don't care.
Okay, cool.
So I got no response. I'm like, fine. So I sent him a turn signal. Again, no box, just got a turn signal, put a stamp on it, and put a little sales letter on there. Nothing. 2 weeks later, I sent him the butt end of the muffler. So not the long pipe part, but just the fat part. Again, postage, sales letter. Next day, I get a call from him, not even from his assistant.
He's like, I need a transmission and I need these 3 things and I got a full car.
Reminds me of the MASH episode where Radar O'Reilly was mailing a Jeep back to the States, one piece at a time. But he said to me, look, if I give you a meeting, will you stop sending me car parts? And I'm like, yeah, we could have stopped at the steering wheel, but you said you didn't want to do it. So I'll tell you, that account crossed $900,000 this past January.
Amazing.
Over the course of 9 or 10 years.
That's amazing. It's fantastic.
So I spent a lot. I could have been out serious bucks. It probably cost me probably about $500-600 to do this, car part and postage and everything. But the return on it.
Oh yeah. Fantastic.
See, that's what you got to figure out is, how much can you spend to get a customer? And the business that can spend the most wins.
Makes sense. Vance, for the service you provide small businesses, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Sure. Actually, I got a little gift for everybody, especially if you're not very creative. It's called 52 Ways to Wow Your Customer Without Breaking the Bank. So it's 52 ways, 1 wow a week for you, and simple stuff, no cost, low cost. And you can get that at wow52ways.com.
Okay.
And that'll set you up for a long time to wow
Amazing.
your customers. Or you can go to my website, vancemorris.com.
Fantastic. I'm going to put both of those links in the description section of the episode here. I want to get you out on time today. I do appreciate your time today. Your stories are great. Your expertise and the background is fascinating. I think I'm going to reach out to you for some other feedback. My daughter just started a small business. She has a salon suite, and she literally just launched it on Tuesday. So, nice. I bought her a couple of books. Thank you. I bought her the E-Myth, and I bought her a bunch of
E-Myth is great.
Bought her some stuff. So she's boning up. So I'm going to let her get her sea legs, but we'll see how it goes.
Awesome.
All right, Vance, thank you so much. Had a great time today. Appreciate the chat.
Thank you, Vic. I appreciate it.
Bye now. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.